me, some of my subscribers dissolved in the vein. I don't know how do you call it. Vanished. Well, let me share screen some for you guys. I hope they be fine. Like this. Okay. So you watching the page of my video analytics from my second C-17 Kabul case. So 10 subscribers chose to leave. But anyways, I want you to focus on this number. So out of all the people that watched this video, 92.7% were subscribed, and only 7.3% were not subscribed. Okay. So what I was saying, that they don't show my videos to the new people, almost don't show, especially this one, the second one wasn't shown to the people. Okay, and of course they lowered the CTR there to 6.3, although the thumbnail is probably more attractive than the first one with only the plane there. And as I've said, unique viewers are only 1,000 people, so that makes it twice worse than the previous one. Although it was starting as number 2 in first couple of hours, then it disappeared and it became number 5 out of last 10 videos. So I don't know if that is not suppression, that is suppression. So almost none suggested videos at all. 0.6%, guys. So, and 33% of those suggested views were from my own videos, like 44% of them, 2 of my videos here. And so it's like suggest me my own, the guy who is watching my video to watch my video. Well, that is great. Okay, so that was point number 1. Second one, wanted to see, for you guys to see this, the same operation of evacuation that was performed in Saigon on April 30th at 8 o'clock. That is the last helicopter that was actually leaving the area of evacuation. And prior to that, they said that like evacuated like around 10,000 people via helicopters to the Navy, to the aircraft carrier. So I don't know actually. How can you debunk this information? So is it actually false flag? Is it just a repeating? Like all these guys want to evacuate, and like they were let in one by one, as you can see. Maybe a person with a kid here, maybe a family, and then it leaves. A bunch of people still standing. That was the last one. Okay. And they also say that some started to go and evacuate via ships, and as you can see, also big chaos here. A bunch of people climbing on all ships because they don't want to be the reason to fear the communist takeover. They have a reason, because they were collaborating with Americans, and so this is the reset that is performed from time to time in different areas, as I was saying, for 4 or 5 years, just like we have here in Afghanistan. Those resets are real. I've been posting a video, a movie, which was called, let's say, New Order trailer. Yeah. And let's see, let's watch this one.
Venga, a ver, los novios, un brindis por los novios. Dales unos shots a los novios, por favor. Todos un brindis. quieren?
Ey. Por favor, bajen las armas.
Hijo, no regresen. Escúchame, no regresen.
¡Mamá! ¡Mamá!
El reporte de ataques masivos hasta el reciente colapso de las vías de comunicación.
Todo va a estar bien.
Atención, por favor. Está prohibida la presencia de ciudadanos en la vía pública.
¿Qué haces afuera?
¿Por qué te saliste?
Toque de queda es riguroso y no hay excepciones.
¡Mochilas abiertas!
Tampoco tiene señal. No puedo llamar a mi casa.
Necesito salir al hospital.
No puede salir de su casa, señor. Regrese a su casa.
No queremos más muertos, no queremos más dolor.
Okay, so just like always, they do it very rapidly. For example, this time everybody was pretty much sure that nothing will happen for 3 months at least, because that was the period when it was announced. But still, it happened pretty fast, and no one would actually believe that they would take over Kabul at the 15th of August, because the local government supposed to be holding on. Actually, well, later we return to that question. But anyway, so as you can see, people are fleeing the country because they are scared of different stuff that could happen to them. And communists, reset the government, reset the shops, the banks, everything, like we have right now in Kabul, when people cannot actually get their money from their bank accounts, cannot even use ATMs. Nothing is actually working there right now. So a bunch of lines near the banks, and all you can take is like $100, which is not very big money right now. Although it was already happening, and that was not that long ago. It was happening in Saigon. Explosions, people running, evacuation. People wanted to enter, but no one is letting them in. Although they show in the papers, but only a few can pass. Only those who have certain papers or certain IDs, like you just seen in the movie New Order. Only those who applied, only those who have those cards can leave actually the area. The rest were locked in a certain perimeter and controlled by the military. It could be one side military, it could be two side military, whatever the conflict is, whatever the reset type is. Okay, so then only few can enter and actually leave. Look how lucky these people are that they got in, and the rest will be just kicked out in a moment, and the doors are closed. Only those lucky people will get their evacuation, and so on. So even Marines were called in. So just like we have in Kabul today, 2.5 2,500 additional troops were called in to, you know, process this evacuation. And it was really big one because it was just helicopters and it was some river ships and so on. Okay, and look what they're doing to the machinery, not to leave it. They cannot actually store it on those Navy ships, so they just push it from their aircrafts. They didn't leave this stuff to communists, but right now, well, they left a bunch of stuff, of course, but they didn't leave helicopters, at least. Also, they just, you know, they sunk those helicopters. Pilots were diving from them, and look, the helicopter. So it was very dangerous. Of course, you cannot stage this stuff. I mean, is this also staged? This is stunts, guys, and no one can actually say what's gonna happen to your helicopter, how it's gonna be, you know, moving in this and that condition. So it's just pure luck and professionalism of those pilots. And less helicopters left, just like we have these days, and so on. Okay. Next video is more footage that I didn't show in my video because I thought everybody already, you know, had checked my words by himself and did his research. And what you can see right now is the another angle of these helicopters trying to scare the people from the runway. And this exact time, you see the runway is completely empty from the people. So most of the people were already scared. And you can see the plane, the C-17, which is on the runway. But, you know, there's a few details that I want you to take a look at. Okay. As you can see, a bunch of people from that side running, so they just, you know, push them off the field, off the run of that plane, so they can secure the area of the run, and so they push them backwards towards the plane from probably where all they came from, because, you know, a bunch of people is back there, as you can see. So turn a little bit. So some people are secured over here, and most of them probably American Marines here, and so maybe some Afghanis. So they cut them off over here, they cut them off over there, and most of the people are scared from the runway and, you know, standing at the side of it over here. Okay. So he's zooming in. You can see how many people is there. Can you stage this stuff, or is this actually a CGI? Well, you can download this video and, you know, check it, and I would like to see your forensic expertise, as some people were saying they could do easily. Well, I'd like to see some of that easy work by forensic experts who have been graduated as the design or maybe computer design and has a lot of skills in those programs. And I'd like you to screencast what you were, you know, would be finding in those footages, and that would be fine, because I'll post that video too on my channel. It would be nice to see if somebody has really good view on that point, really expertise. So you see people are moving. Plane is working. Plane is working. Nobody's on the runway. Both helicopters already did their work, and everybody is on the side. Plane is moving, and look at this. Very slow process over here. It's the left side, it's the other side, not that side that we saw on that footage. And you can see people jumping off that side too. Let me rewind a little bit and try to playback speed 25%. 100%. As you can see, somebody's jumping off here from that landing gear, and so nobody was left on the left one. Those people were smart enough to leave. Okay, watch it again. People over here jumping off and running. Okay, next we see something that is also backing up the previous of my sayings, like people were secured from the runway and they were shooting to do that. They were shooting, and let's watch it again, full view. They were shooting and securing the area, and the guy even said, "I will record this."
I'm getting a video of this.
He said, "I'm getting a video of this."
I'm getting a video of this.
So if it's staged, it's very expensive staging, and too many coincidences pointing that it was not staged event, guys. It was probably provoked situation with a signature of the controllers, just like they do during all the resets. They letting all those world leaders know, the guys, we're coming for you, take your money and run. And that's what we had. The Afghani president ran so fast that he even forgot a bunch of boxes of his treasures on the runway, which were later found. Well, nobody even suspected he would run, because they even watched him but couldn't understand how that was happening. Okay, well, I'm not really commenting what was actually happening those days. These were very rough 2 days, and we should just understand that it was not staged at all. Okay, next thing is a bunch of relatives of the dead 13 Marines, and I also showed them pictures, those pictures of them in my previous video, second part of C-17 investigation. And so Biden was actually there during this procedure. I think it's some type of ritual, sacrifice ritual, and well, I don't know how else do you call it, because leaving people behind in that situation is provoking those situations to happen. And also the next day there were missile attack at the supposed terrorist group of ISIS there, and also three kids were killed during that attack. So I don't know, I don't want to actually discuss that. If I was just saying that too much stuff, too much coincidences in one place doesn't occur. Okay,
that. Sorry, I'm on the radio.
No. Go
My
ahead.
son was one of the Marines that died yesterday. 20 years and 6 months old, getting ready to come home from Jordan to be with his wife to watch the birth of his son.
Well, and so on and so forth. So yeah, you can watch those videos by yourself. I'd recommend to, at least. Well, next one is exclusive on Taliban control of airport, and what we can see is a bunch of Taliban fighters there already controlling the airport, and They all have the American equipment. Some of them called special forces, and so on. Look at those things they got here. I mean, it's very expensive guns. Not the ones they used to have at Soviet times, during Soviet occupation, but anyway. Very interesting report from June 2010. I'd like you to watch it because it reveals a lot of information.
The mountains of Kunar province in northeastern Afghanistan serve as a major infiltration point for Taliban sneaking over from Pakistan. This is also where American and NATO forces are forming what they hope will be their best defense strategy against the insurgents. The Afghan Army, or ANA as it's sometimes called.
We all teach basic marksmanship, basic unit formations, tactical formations.
Learning to shoot and arrange troops is all part of building a professional fighting power that can beat the Taliban when U.S. forces start leaving by the deadline set for mid-next year. But there are some serious concerns.
Take a knee, get down.
On a recent mission to the village of Saw, one of the platoons came under attack. Most of the bullets were coming not from the Taliban, but from Afghan soldiers who showed up and randomly started firing.
Hey!
So they experienced the friendly fire, but that's not what I was trying to say.
These are the kinds of mistakes that could get so-called friendly forces killed.
By and large, we have found, both here and during my time in Iraq, that other armies are not necessarily as disciplined as ours when it comes to sectors of fire and which direction that they're aiming. And so it's certainly something that we continue to work on a target that you shoot at, having positive identification of that target, why you're shooting at that target, and the real purpose behind it, instead of spraying bullets all along the mountainside.
Well, you know, it's a big, proud thing to kill an aggressor in the Muslim world, and so even they wouldn't be regretting if they would kill some of those people there. So
lack of discipline is just one of the major problems facing the Afghan army. 9 out of 10 enlisted men can't read or write. A lot of them smoke hashish and heroin, which could explain why they have a hard time following orders. Some have also been known to steal from civilians at checkpoints and to sell their American-supplied guns and ammo to the Taliban.
yeah, isn't that recent, guys? All these control points where they search and, you know, take whatever is so-called illegal.
And they don't know the first thing about cars, or Humvees for that matter.
I'm gonna check the power steering, the oil, and the transmission fluid.
What's transmission?
Transmission is the gearbox underneath.
So that's for the question to those, why did I call them pretty barbaric? Because, you know, they actually, it's not bad to be barbaric in my opinion, because barbaric is, you know, something clear, original, something that we have lost, you know, prior civilization meaning of what we're supposed to do in this world. But anyways, but also barbaric is eager to protect your point of view, protect your world, protect your way of life. Okay, so I'm not actually sure that that is actually a very disgraceful thing to be barbaric. No, it's I would be proud to be more barbaric actually than I am. I would be proud to be able, you know, to have a sword fight skills, I don't know, to be a good archer, I don't know, to be a good horse rider, to be a good climber of the mountains as the Afghanis are, because that's what they're good at. And I don't know, and very stupid to think that they cannot climb the plane. You know, by the way, how many people die from being mashed in his landing gear? Just check these numbers, you'll find out. Very interesting. It's not like it's impossible at all. Okay.
Sergeant Williams says that their basic lack of knowledge makes it that much harder to explain in a different language.
Now, unfortunately, the people that make the Humvees don't speak Pashtun, so you have to learn a little bit of English. And
Sometimes they are joking with our guys and they're laughing, so some of our guys mind that they have said something wrong to me, rude. He has the same idea, that just the problem of language, sometimes misunderstanding happening.
So in 2010, they were thinking that they could teach these people, actually.
Despite the many handicaps, NATO officers say Afghans are starting to take the lead on missions. They're much better at establishing ties with the community.
Of course, the Afghan has a better situational awareness because they can see they understand what the local populations are saying. They understand the signs, the atmospherics of the villagers. They can feel that much better than any Westerner here in Afghanistan.
Major Legends from Latvia says the Afghan army is slowly pulling itself together.
Patience. You have to have patience. I will not be original by quoting Lawrence of Arabia here, but it's better to have them, in this case ANA, to do a thing 75% good than having us doing a 100% good solution for them.
From the day that I came to the Afghanistan army, I can feel that now I'm much better, and I just got the trainings, how to fix the weapons, and I got lots of experience in this job.
Still, the question remains whether they will be able to stand on their own by the time coalition forces withdraw from the country. Until then, it's too early to tell if the $1 billion that is being spent every month in training will go to
$1 billion spent in every month in training of those people. That's why it was so long, guys. It was just answered to us.
By the time coalition forces withdraw from the country. Until then, it's too early to tell if the $1 billion that is being spent every month in training will go to waste.
So no more comments, guys. That's why this happening this fast. And look at next clip. I don't know. You don't like me to turn on the official news, but just just the numbers they present here is very interesting. These are they showing. Let's see.
American uniforms, American guns, but these are Taliban special forces.
So where all these weapons are now, going to, and so on. So let's see, these American plans and stuff, and writings on the walls, on those marker boards, helicopters in hangar, whatever you call it.
Helicopters, even Black Hawks.
So everything is fine there. Some of them trashed, some of them could be fixed actually, but Taliban says that we can fix most of these helicopters from the airport. And also they had this is the last guy who actually left the country from American side.
Major General Chris Donahue was on his way home.
Okay, and he's gonna show some numbers here.
Faced with the stark choice between leaving or escalating. The Afghan mission was devised overwhelmingly by the Americans and led by US forces with, of course, the support of other states, including the UK. Now, the US is thought to have spent more than $2 trillion.
So it was like $1 trillion a week ago. Now it's already 2.3 trillion. I mean, this is ridiculous. They're just laundering the money via this reset operation, and this is actually the mechanism how they can steal the money, erase the all this evidence, like by saying, "Oh, we left all behind. We couldn't, burn we burned the archives, we burned the documents, so we cannot tell where this money actually was spent. All we know it was 2.3 trillion. Okay, and they just left 80 billion ammunition there." So that's officially announced right now. 80 billion ammunition and guns and all this stuff. This is just machinery. Okay, what's he's gonna say next?
On the Afghan mission over the past 20 years. And then there was the cost in lives, more than 2,400 US military personnel.
Yeah, he's not insane about the private military companies who also lost a bunch of lives there, and Well, at least he's not actually saying anything about the allies. Allies also lost a bunch of lives there.
Died in the course of the conflict, and that number contrasts with at least
116,000 Afghan deaths, civilian, police, and military during these 20 years. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous, guys.
My fellow Americans, the war in Afghanistan is now over. I'm the fourth president who has faced the...
Yeah, fourth president, but you the one who were actually at 2010 was saying that you're gonna withdraw all the troops soon. You were in that team.
issue of whether and when to end this war. When I was running for president, I made a commitment to the American people that I would end this war.
Well, you should have been ending it at 2010, guy. I mean, come on, man.
Today, I've honored that commitment. It was time to be.
And by the way, they actually had plans of roadmap of withdrawal with 2010 and 2011, 2012, each and every year. Switch the year further and further because $1 billion per month only on training, guys.
Be honest with the American people again. We no longer had a clear purpose in an open-ended mission in Afghanistan. After 20 years of war in Afghanistan, I refuse to send another generation of America's sons and daughters.
Another generation. So you sent a bunch of generations there already.
To fight a war that should have ended long ago.
Yeah, you know that. He knows that. He should have landed it long ago. And it was there. And him, John Kerry, and Chuck Hagel. That was quite a situation because they left behind one of these guys here. I don't know which one, this or that one. His name is Mohammed. He actually didn't get his lucky ticket to leave the via American evacuation program with 100,000 civilians rescued. I'm not actually sure how many Americans left, but you know, they say about 2,500. Somebody says it's 200. So actually the data is, but we also know about 24 of you know, American students. They are actually high school students, and they actually right now trapped in Afghanistan, can't return to the to begin their studies. Okay. Well, anyways,
he hailed the evacuation of more than 123,000 people.
123,000 people. What a nice evacuation, guys. But still somebody is left behind. Okay, next the one thing you never see Shield doing is admitting he was wrong in certain evidence that he presented. Because I received the comment that that sound during the load of you know, boarding process of American soldiers on C-17 that I presented as evidence that you can walk below the engine, behind the engine, and so on. That was wrongly interpreted by me and could have an APU. What is APU? APU is auxiliary power unit. So a mechanical startup for the jet engine is a device in the vehicle that provides energy for functions while engines are not working. Okay, and it has some loudness, of course. And look at this video that I found. Loud APU on C-17 Globemaster during the air show. So as you can see, the engines are not working, and it's clear from this point, and the sound is pretty much similar to the sound that we see on that video with boarding. So I admit that could be APU. I didn't know that it has the same sound as similar to what we hear during the jets working. But that guy said that also you could load with the working jets. And by the way, I was analyzing how many people were actually got sucked into the engine. I don't like you to see that footage actually, because the video would be blocked probably after that footage. But you know, there was a footage of a cone getting sucked in, and probably you can see another footage of a person get sucked in via jet, you know, entrance, air suction entrance. Okay, well, anyway, so what I found out is you have to be close to that suction zone. And as you can see, C-17 is very high plane, and the winds are high, and engines are probably twice the human height. So there's a high chance of not being sucked in this condition, because you're not exactly in front of the engine where the suction comes in very rapidly. Okay, so still, those people who say that the jet engine safety wasn't performed, don't forget about that. We see just the last part of the run, and probably somebody would have filmed, if somebody would have filmed the whole process of start of the run till the end of the run, we would see all this information. But we can now only guess what was happening. And I think that they started moving, used a bunch of power to start the plane. Well, it was starting at idle speed, of course. It's like 20-25% of power. Then what we see on the discovery video, when the person is testing this myth that you can be blown or cannot be blown away by the jet engine, they were raising the power 30%, 40%, 50%, and only at 50 or maybe more percent he's starting to feel that, you know, influence. So that kind of shows that no, the people that run from the back, they don't even feel this slowly moving plane, because it's about less than 30% of power. And probably the plane was started, the idle speed, the increased speed to start moving, release the brakes and all this stuff, and they started moving. And then the people saw the moving plane. Okay, all those people that were on the runway, as I've been showing you in the previous video, there's a bunch of people already, you know, walking around, running around the runway, because they were released from those planes. They had to, you know, get out of the planes, and they, you know, just, you know, all this mob was released from all these civilian planes, and they start to run around. Probably see this military plane starting to move on the runway, and that's where they started running and chasing that plane, because that was the only moving plane. They was thinking that it was the last plane, like the case that we see in Saigon that people were like climbing. It was all there. Okay, and so they chased that plane, and were able to climb on those landing gears. Some of them they just, you know, fooling around with the front gear, but then they released, and some of them just jumped from the left one. But the people on the right one left until the takeoff was completed, and that's where we see those falls, and that's where we see those mashed people in the news and the media sources, which were silenced immediately after all this stuff was released. Nobody ever talked about it anymore. Okay, and so I admit the plane can be standing during this process of boarding and be used as APU, and sounds similar to what we hear in the airports. And probably some of them planes use APUs, as we cannot prove or disprove that right now. So, but you cannot move an APU. You cannot, you know, make the plane ride with the speed at least 5 miles an hour. It's only with the working engines. So well, this is close to idle speed, And as you can see, the height is very high, so you cannot be sucked in probably. If you're an Afghan, you'd probably be a lot smaller than this guy, because average Afghan is smaller than average average American. Okay, going to Afghans. This is the mineral resources of Afghanistan. Well, I wouldn't be talking about that without that article, of course, that I found probably the first day I started to watch for this stuff. This is the coal mine, but not that simple, not that simple. Afghanis have returning to power in Afghanistan after 12-year absence. The Taliban have regained control of natural resources that a former mines minister of country once said could be worth up to $3 trillion. As you remember, we just watched that the U.S. spent $2.3 trillion. The estimate was made toward the end of the last commodities super cycle in 2010 and could be worth even more now after global economic recovery from the coronavirus shock sent prices for everything from copper to lithium soaring this year. Afghanistan is rich in resources like copper, gold, oil, natural gas, uranium, bauxite, coal, iron ore, rare earths, lithium, chromium, lead, zinc, gemstones, talc, sulfur, travertine, gypsum, and marble. And it's only research from the sky. This is not boots on the ground yet. Just imagine how many more they will be discovered if those geologist teams will be there on the ground. Okay, so below is a breakdown of South Afghanistan key resources as estimated by the country's mining ministry and the US government, as well as their potential monetary value for the war-ravaged Afghan economy. Insecurity challenges can be overcome. Copper, an interesting situation with copper. A 2019 report by Afghanistan Ministry of Mines and Petroleum put the country's copper resources at almost 30 million tons. An Afghan mining sector roadmap published by the ministry in the same year said there were another 28.5 million tons of copper in undiscovered porphyry deposits. That would bring total close to 60 million tons, which worth hundreds of billions of dollars at current prices, and demand for metal grows. So the prices are still rising, but a consortium of metallurgical corporation of China, MCC, and Jiangxi Copper took a 30-year lease for the largest copper project in this country, Mazar-i-Sharif, in 2008. But they didn't do anything, by the way. I researched that situation. They didn't do anything because Americans were inside, and they didn't let China to do anything. And only some pre-production thing were signed, and a contract was signed. So 30 years is ending at 2038. The giant asset is still to be developed, so nothing was developed yet, but the 11.08 million tons of copper MCC estimates it to hold would be worth over 100 billion at current London Metal Exchange prices. It's only one worth of 100 billion, and it's located somewhere. Copper, ACC. MCC. Well, somewhere in the center of that map. Let's see, copper. Well, it's not yet on that map because it's just been found. All these resources were just been found. Ingenious related copper, this yellow stuff. and they're like everywhere, as you can see. So all this map is full of copper. Like, you can probably find some copper and gold over here. This one's copper, this one copper and gold, this one rare earths and uranium, copper and gold over here, and all this area is this is crossroads of the Asia. So many countries: Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, China, Pakistan here, Iran, and India is also active in iron production here. They also wanted to take these other metals. The 2019 report also said Afghanistan had more than 2.2 billion tons of steel making raw material, iron ore, worth over 350 billion at current market prices. Gold resources were much more modest at an estimated 2,070 kilograms, worth almost 170 million, while Afghan minister said base metals and aluminum, tin, lead and zinc were located in multiple areas of the country. Lithium. An internal U.S. Department of Defense memo in 2010 reportedly described Afghanistan as the Saudi Arabia of lithium. Just understand what I'm saying, meaning it could be as crucial for global supply of the battery metal as the Middle Eastern country for crude oil. The comparison was made at the time lithium was already widely used in batteries for electronic devices, but before it had become apparent how much lithium would it be needed for electric vehicles, EV batteries, and the world's low carbon transition, which is only upcoming, guys. Oh no. So 2017-2018 report from the US Geological Survey notes Afghanistan had deposits of spodumene and lithium bearing mineral that does not provide tonnage estimates, while the 2019 Afghan report makes no mention of lithium at all. So it's just needs to be researched, as I've said before, with the boots on the ground. 2019 Mines Ministry report does, however, say Afghanistan holds of 1.4 million tons of rare earth minerals, a group of 17 elements prized for their application in consumer electronics as well as in military equipment. View with hydrocarbon-rich Iran and Turkmenistan to east-west, Afghanistan harbors around 1.6 billion barrels of crude oil, 16 trillion cubic feet of natural gas, and another 500 million barrels of natural gas liquids. That according to the 2019 Afghan report, which cited a joint US-Afghan assessment and applies a value of 107 billion for the crude oil alone at current market prices. Most of the undiscovered crude oil is in Afghan-Tajik basin, and most of the undiscovered natural gas is in Amu Darya basin, the report said. So it's like on the north over here. Okay. Yeah. Uzbekistan, Tajikistan. And silent Uzbekistan is already projecting the new railroad system to, they call it Kabul corridor, and it's going to be running right through the Chinese copper mines and close to the India mines of iron ore, which is like, you know. And by the way, there's also a railroad on the north which was already constructed by Soviets and is working here. It's supplying all the cities like Mazar-i-Sharif, and Mazar-i-Sharif is a very interesting city. It has a very big history. It was one holy saint of Muslims, and he was a relative of Muhammad, I think. Not actually sure, but very respected one. And Shia Muslims visit that place a lot and respect this place as his tomb. But you know, somebody challenges that and says that the tomb is actually in Iraq. But well, whatever. Still very interesting building with a very interesting history. It has symbols, a bunch of pigeons there, white pigeons. They symbolize this mosque, and it's even deposited at the banknotes, the mosque and the pigeons. And let's see, very interesting mosque inside, and it has this sarcophagus of this saint. People visit it and so on. Very complex construction, as you can see. Has a bunch of towers, buildings, small towers, arches and stuff like this. I don't know. What is your point of view? Look at this level over here. And let me read you a couple of lines about the history of this building, so you would see, understand why I'm so you know, pointing at this. Let's see. In British Wikipedia, English Wikipedia is called Hazrat Ali Mazar, Great Mosque of Kufa. Hazrat Ali Mazar, Arabic, located in Mazar-i-Sharif, Afghanistan, is a mosque which Sunni Muslims believe contained the tomb of Ali ibn Abi Talib. Sunnis regard Ali as the fourth right-guided caliph, and they pay tribute to Ali's shrine every year. The site is also where many pilgrims annually celebrate Nowruz. At the annual Jahida Baya ceremony, a holy flag is raised in honor of Hazrat Ali. People touch the flag for luck in the new year. When Hazrat Ali was martyred, remember those martyred American Marines. When Hazrat Ali was martyred, Afghans believed that his body was taken and buried in the Afghan city of Mazar-i-Sharif. At this site, Ali was reportedly brought here by the white camel in order to save his remains from the discretion by his enemies. However, Shia Muslims believe that Hazrat Ali is buried in the Imam Ali Mosque at the Najaf in Iraq. Alternatively, the personage buried in the shrine may have predated Islam. Identifying the shrine with Hazrat Ali could likely be a myth to ensure the tomb would be protected and honored by the Islamic establishment. Historical studies confirm that the owner of the shrine is Ali bin Abi Talib al-Balkhani, captain of the Alevs in Balkh during his time. Talib is actually the learner or the teacher, whatever. The Sultan of Seljuk dynasty, Ahmed Sanjar, built the first known shrine at this location. Let's see. Seljuk dynasty, and so it was like 11th century. Built the first known shrine at this location. It was destroyed or hidden under earthen embankment during the invasion of Genghis Khan around 1220. In the 15th century, Timur Sultan Hussein Baikara Mirza built a mosque over a tomb of Hazrat Ali. It is by far the most important landmark in Mazar-i-Sharif, and it's believed that the name of city originates from this shrine, which is actually translated as tomb of the saint or the holy person. Mazar-i-Sharif, holy person tomb. Tombs of varying dimensions were added for a number of Afghan political and religious leaders over the years, which had led to the development of its current irregular dimensions. So each place has different people buried inside. These include the square dome tomb of Emir Dost Mohammed Khan, Wazir al-Barhan, and Sher Ali and his family. A local legend claims that the entire mosque was once buried to protect it from Mongol army, although no evidence has been found to support this claim. And in the top again, it was destroyed or hidden under earthen embankment during the invasion of Genghis Khan. Russian Wikipedia also says that in 2012, during Mongol and Genghis Khan invasion, the tomb was buried by the earth and mask. I mean, totally camouflaged, to avoid being destroyed by the Mongols. The building above was destroyed by the Mongols. So I don't know, it doesn't make any sense. Well, anyway, so what I think actually is it was mud flooding, but right now they cannot, prove or disprove that it was buried, because you cannot bury one thing before the invasion of somebody. I mean, how is possible? Just imagine if this was like 2-3 buildings, the first shrine of this, maybe this one. How can you bury this building in front of the invading army? I mean, this is crazy. So, but it could be buried with the pouring mud, if you know how to provoke mud to pour on a certain place. Why not? Afghanistan is a huge mining area, so probably they have the ancient miners there too. So let's say the next information was about still with this ancient history and all this remains of ancient civilization there, those great culture and historical evidence that we can probably find in Afghanistan if we let in there. But anyway, they have a place in Kabul and probably in more cities, and not only this place, maybe more places like this, where they just showing what they actually their level of culture right now. So I'm not gonna show I'm gonna show it really fast and try to understand what is coming up. So this is under bridge, probably some river there. This is place located near the market, people selling fruits there. Everything you can see on the table is sold there, but that's not very big problem actually, because right near this place is a bridge. Underneath it is tons of people getting high, I would say, but actually they're using heroin. Even people on the market do it regularly, just sitting like this, somebody's selling something, somebody's getting high right nearby. And of course they're ashamed of it and they hide their faces, but nothing that you can actually help these people, because these shitholes are everywhere, and they it's like a normal thing there. Everybody's just not only young people, old people also come there. Like these guys are pretty old and they still use heroin. And these people, like, they don't care. So not only these people are using drugs there, but the other people go to this place as a toilet, like taking leak there or whatever, taking not only leak, as you can see. So people were also washing their clothes, they're using drugs, you know. Everywhere is just, you know, this is a shithole that was, you know, created by those local people and via the control of American troops for 20 years. Hope all this will end. And this is, you know, John Kerry's post on how they flew to Afghanistan. These people actually saved them from and Biden always was saying, like, if you want to go with me in Afghanistan again on a helicopter, I would tell you this, or I would tell you. Still always saying, like, I was in Afghanistan, but actually they left behind those people who saved them that time when they landed in that area, which with the heavy weather and all this stuff. Some I think Wall Street Journal or somebody has an article about this, or like they personally send a mail or whatever with the words to Joe Biden, saying, like, Joe Biden, we helped you back then, help us now, take us out, but still no reply yet. I hope Joe Biden will save his savior. Okay, American presidents really need to be saved sometimes. This is Chuck Hagel, who also was there. He was fired by John Kerry, by the way. Look at this tweet. Chuck Hagel's great friend patriot. No one cares more about man and woman in uniform. So why you guys fired him, huh? Yeah. Okay. And also Roman Pope quoted Putin saying that you should leave Afghanistan. You should have stopped. Let me just, you know, retranslate it. We need to stop this irresponsible policy of outside interference, that the desire to build democracy in other countries, not taking into account of traditions of the people, the pontiff quoted. Man, that's the guy who said the World War III is already going on in 2013. Okay. Well, that's what pretty much everything I wanted to say today. Hope you guys like this broadcast. Sorry it's not live, but you know, I need to see what's going on in the chat and currently reply everybody who is watching. Okay, so let's see what's gonna happen next. See you later. Bye.